Game-bred Jorge Masvidal is coming off a great 2020, but it wasn't as eventful as his 2019 season where he knocked out Darren Till, Ben Askren, and stopped Nate Diaz. 2020 was great to Jorge, mainly because he was able to fight for the welterweight title, get seriously paid, and leave a door open for another title shot in the future. What does Jorge do next though? Seems like a matchup between Jorge and a bitter rival is what the world and the UFC is clamoring for. Is that what Jorge wants though? Before we go further, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We do a weekly podcast and talk about breaking news in UFC and MMA. Masvidal took a fight against welterweight champion Kamaru Usman on 6 days' notice after a scheduled bout against Gilbert Burns fell through. Jorge accepted the fight, but only had time to focus on making the 170 weight-pound limit. Jorge did not have the opportunity or energy to get his body to optimal fighting shape or develop and drill a game plan to fight Kamaru. Also, add in the fact that Kamaru just came off a training camp and a healthy weight cut. Usman would hug his way to a decision win and left over 1.5 million pay-per-view customers wanting more. It was clear that Jorge was not able to fight the way he ideally would want to fight Kamaru Usman. Jorge had to fight with the limitations set on him. After the bout, Jorge was adamant to let everyone know that it was super necessary to fight Kamaru again, but on a full training camp.
You sit down with Dana and he says, all right, Jorge, who do you want next? What do you want to do? What's the answer?
Do Usman, obviously. It's a no-brainer. Usman, could they offer me bigger names that pay me more money? Yes, for a fact. But if it's up to me, Usman, for me stepping up in 6 day notice, and nobody else will, because a lot of people are saying that they would, but who else did it? Tell me. Who else really actually asked Dana? Who else was actually like, hey, Masvidal doesn't do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm right here. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. If it's up to me, yeah, of course, Usman right away. And I don't care if they could offer me a bigger fight or not. I would like to fight Usman.
So Usman over Diaz 2, McGregor, anyone like that?
You can tell me that McGregor right now would make XYZ dollars, the biggest pay-per-view event in history, right? And I'm gonna get paid forever. I feel I got compensated well enough now that I keep making the right decisions I've been doing, and this money is forever money. So it's not about money, It's about, I want that damn belt, and I'm stubborn, and I know I'm better than Usman, and I want to prove it. I want to fight again. I'm not gonna take none from him. He won the first one. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, and that's it, And after that, then we could start whatever comes next after that. But Usman's the thing that I want the most. The immediate rematch is Usman for me,
Is it really doable though? Usman is set to face Gilbert Burns at UFC 258 on February 13th, 2021. Does it make sense for Jorge to fight the winner of that matchup? We would essentially be writing off the Jorge vs Usman matchup for what it was, a short notice fight that shouldn't have much bearing on Jorge because of all the reasons we talked about earlier. Well, I think that's what Jorge wants us to believe as well. Jorge, since the fight with Usman, has been radio silent on clearly stating his direction. Is he going to wait out for a title fight that he feels he has earned? Or is he going to try to maximize his star power and pay-per-view buys? There are a few options out there for Masvidal. He could make weight and be a replacement fighter for the Usman vs Burns bout at UFC 258. He could wait for that fight to happen and face the winner, or he could face Colby Covington. Dana White in a recent interview talked about that being a fight that he is currently working on to make.
So Colby Covington, he's talked about fighting Jorge Masvidal. He's teased that. Now he's gone on record saying Jorge Masvidal doesn't like the fight stylistically. Boss man, do you want to see that fight? Does it make sense? Masvidal versus Colby Covington. We haven't heard Jorge's side of the story.
I don't think Masvidal said I don't like that fight stylistically. We're working on that fight. That's the fight we want to, and hopefully we'll get that done this year too. I'm telling you, we got nothing but big fights all this year, so hopefully we can get a couple of these key ones buttoned up and done and start looking forward to them.
Sentiments of a matchup between Jorge and Covington are also thrown around by the media members during interviews in recent memory. It's a compelling story. Longtime training partners and best friends no longer see eye to eye morally and speak ill about each other. Jorge and Colby had a big brother, little brother type relationship, where Jorge would let Colby live in his home while Colby was still developing into the top MMA contender he is today. There's tons of footage of both of them hanging out, cracking jokes, and just being best friends.
Jorge Masvidal is my absolute best friend in the whole entire world. I love that guy, I mean, more than I love myself.
At the end of the day, man, we're both just rooting for each other, man. We set out a long time ago, or 5 years ago. We were both broke, plotting on the world of how we were gonna make our money and our stake in this world, and our dreams are not falling into plan.
Can't say enough about American Top Team. Mike Brown, my head coach, my best friend Jorge Masvidal.
We've been friends for a long time. I've known him 6 years plus, you know, so it's more than just teammates. We're good friends.
Along the way, Colby decided he wanted to take another approach in his MMA career, more specifically his public image. We won't go too much into this for this video. The takeaway that we will have to look at is the trash talk between the two.
Best friends turn enemies fight with Jorge Masvidal, Street Judas. He's been talking all that talk reckless, you know, at our old gym. He was saying, oh, I'm gonna beat your ass, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Okay, let's see it. Come see me in the octagon then.
This makes me sad that you and Colby are beefing. You spoke so highly of him in that interview. I don't know if you remember.
At some point, I would have considered us real friends. Knowing that he'd take to the internet or online to bash me when I had never bashed him, and he just took to bashing it. If you would sell out our friendship like that so quick, we never had a friendship. We were never cool, man. You were just using me or whatever the hell, you know, sleeping on my couch.
Were you ever friends?
Nah, looking back at it now, like I knew the whole time, like we hung out a lot, like, you know, we lived together, but it was a one-way street. He was just using me for his training camps.
Logical next guy for you.
The fragile guy with the MAGA hat, definitely not him, because he got finished by this guy with a full training camp. He had like 12 weeks and he got finished, so I think that guy's below me and this dude by a lot, you know?
Street Judas, we got unfinished business. There's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide. I'm coming for you. You're next!
Who I guess, you know, your friend who called him out earlier in the week. Are you excited to see how that one plays out?
Yeah, you know, it's the battle of the journeyman. It's an exciting fight. You know, the battle of the 500 level fighter. They're both. Let's see, Nate Diaz is 1-1 in the last 3 years. Jorge Masvidal is 2-2 in the last year or two. So it's the battle of the journeyman, the battle of the 500 fighters. So I'm excited to see, you know, who comes out top.
Hold on, let's rewind a second. So, I know Jorge is a friend of yours, but now you're starting to slag him a little bit. Is there trouble in paradise here?
No, not at all. No trouble in paradise. What have I said anything that's a lie? Where's the lie, Aaron? You know, I'm saying all truth and facts. If someone gets mad at me or a media member or him even for saying facts, then you know that you're living in denial. You're living in a delusional world. So, you know, there's no beef. He's still my best friend, man. We go through way back, Aaron. You don't know what me and that guy been through. We've been through so much together. So I got, you know, nothing but respect and love for him. He's my brother.
Yeah, but you called him a journeyman. I mean, the journeyman is still kind of something you wouldn't want to call somebody who's a friend of yours. Am I wrong on that?
I mean, there's nothing in my contract that says I have to be nice, and there's nothing in our friendship that says I need to say nice words all the time. We troll each other all the time, Aaron.
He is someone who enjoys being a bit of a professional wrestling heel. We want to play some sound for you here that he delivered, and we want to get the reaction from Jorge Masvidal. This is about you, by the way.
All he cares about is himself. That's all Jorge is a guy that cares for himself. He doesn't care for others, and he doesn't care for anybody unless they can do something for him. And I'm not that guy. I'm not going to always just do stuff for you and then be taken for granted. So, you know, now I passed him up. I'm making more money than him. I'm banging harder chicks than him. I'm doing better in life, and he's just a jealous little.
That's from the Ariel Helwani show. Had you heard that before?
Now I heard the full clip. I had gotten like bits and pieces of it from like friends and text messages. And then I heard a soundbite as well before that one. And he was talking about how the sport is selfish. How he's in it for himself, how he's got no friends, and that's why he trashed another one of our teammates, Dustin Poirier before his fight, you know. So him saying that stuff about me is like contradicting that, but you just said that's okay because we're in an individual sport.
On my show back in 2016, I don't know if you remember, you were here to watch the NCAA wrestling tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually talked a lot. I just listened to the interview again just to remind me of what we talked about. We talked a lot about your roommate, your friend. And the Bisping photo makes me think that this makes me sad that you and Colby are beefing. This makes me sad. You guys were boys. You spoke so highly of him in that interview. I don't know if you remember, but going to Taco Bell late at night.
Yeah. I mean, me and this individual shared a lot of memories, you know.
Yeah, you guys were real friends.
At some point, I would have considered us real friends. Knowing that he'd take to the internet or online to bash me when I had never bashed him, and he just took to bashing it, whether it be for a Facebook like or maybe he's gonna get 10 more pay-per-view buys when we do fight. If you would sell out our friendship like that so quick, we never had a friendship. You know, it was all fake. I thought we had a friendship, but I could see from your end to mine, we were never cool, man. You were just using me or whatever the hell, you know, sleeping on my couch. Obviously, you already knew who I was, so how would I get Colby on your show? I'd tell you about my boy Colby. I'd do it with other radio shows, you know? So I just feel like, man, this dude's a punk, you know? And then to really put the nail in the coffin, ripped off my coach.
My impression from the two is that Colby is playing a character. He has no love lost for Jorge and simply wants to use him as a platform to further his career. Jorge, on the other hand, wears his heart on his sleeve. You get a sense that Jorge is truly hurt by the words and antics of Colby over the years. He genuinely feels like he lost a lifelong brother that has turned his back to him for the almighty dollar. Jorge has done everything in his career his way. He stayed true to himself and who he is. This is the exact opposite of what Colby has done in his career, and that infuriates and saddens Jorge. There's something very important to note though. Whenever a matchup between himself and Colby is brought up, Jorge will give the same answers.
That the universe is gonna correct that mistake via me. Our time will come, I'll dictate when, and then I will. A lot of people said, you included, I think, that what I did to Ben was a little uncalled for. No, it wasn't. What I'm gonna do to Colby's gonna be uncalled for, and I can put my life on that, man.
1. He will fight with Colby, but not right now. 2. It's not necessarily the biggest fight out there because Colby is not as big of a name as the MMA community may think he is. And 3. He doesn't want Colby to gain off his new persona, especially off the back of Jorge himself. Jorge has remained very silent recently about what he's planning to do or wants to do for his next matchup. He hasn't fought since July 2020 and doesn't have any scheduled bouts as of yet. The one thing that I did find interesting was that he retweeted a poll from the UFC on BT Sports on December 20th, 2020. The poll was, if Jorge can only fight once in 2021, who is it? The poll garnered 43,000 votes. 29,000 or 67% of those were for Colby Covington. To be fair, the other options were Nate Diaz, Wonderboy, or other. I wish BT would have rather included an option for Kamaru Usman or the welterweight title. I don't weight this retweeting of the poll too heavily, but it's intriguing to say the least. Jorge will eventually break his radio silence and let the world know who he's baptizing next. I don't think Jorge will or wants to fight Colby next, because simply, what happens if he loses? Imagine this, Jorge goes into the octagon against Colby Covington in his next fight, and gets taken down leading to a decision loss. What's next for Jorge? Is a Masvidal hype and allure gone? He would now be on a 2-fight losing streak and need to work himself back into the position that he was just in. If he does win, it would give him the #1 contender status and fight for the title again. But why kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Jorge could have his grudge fight against Colby and have his #1 contender fight separate from each other. Picture this. Jorge fights Wonderboy, or the loser of the welterweight title fight, and wins. He would earn the #1 contender status once again. However, if he loses the fight, he can turn around and face Colby on a pay-per-view headline by the former 2 best friends. I think Jorge is very silent for a reason, and has voiced in the past, Colby's time will come, but that time isn't now. If you like the video, make sure to press a thumbs up, and if you want more, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and our podcast talking about the latest news and events in the UFC and MMA. Follow our Instagram page and TikTok in the description. What do you think? Who does Jorge fight next and when?